Hello. So, I wanted to come on and share some thoughts and learning experiences after doing my very first Tastefully Simple in person tasting party. And for me, I have been a part of Tastefully Simple for 2 years, and I started right in the middle of COVID when everyone was quarantining and everyone was isolated. So my entire business has been built upon Facebook parties and virtual experiences. So lo and behold, when I had a person that I had barely even met last year at a vendor event reach out to me saying, hey, I would really like to do an in-person tasting party. It was super duper exciting. And it came while I was at Party Palooza, and we had just gotten our party card system. And so these are awesome. What a wonderful way to give you some security and comfort. And even if you are an experienced, tastefully simple tasting party consultant, these cards are going to show your guests that anybody can do a party, because you don't have to have everything memorized, and you don't have to have all the answers, and you don't have to be a great public speaker. So I really truly love the idea of these cards and everything that they bring to us as a very valuable resource. But there are some things that you want to kind of be prepared for, and things that'll help you be successful whether you're using the cards or not. And so I wanted to walk you through a few things. Now, this is the key to success for any party, and that's hostess coaching. And I'm not going to say very much about hostess coaching because that could be its own little video all in and of itself. But it's really important to give your host the information for him or her to be successful, but to also motivate them. I highly, highly suggest that you use a tic-tac-toe board of some sort to give them some incentives, and your prizes should not be breaking the bank. My prizes are simply samples that I have in my stash. Seasonings always have some higher end samples, like if you purchased party kits, you can use the party kit samples. That's a really good value for you as a consultant. So you can use things like the beer bread that's in there, the Absolutely Almond Pound Cake, the soups, if they have soups that have been in there. A great way to get your hostess or host motivated. Make sure you also give them some tips in a very personalized letter so that they feel special and they feel heard and they have the tools in their toolkit to help them be successful. And then, of course, you want to add something about the business, and you want to highlight what they can earn. So I always include a host special and a client special flyer so that they are aware of what they're earning towards. Now, on the tic-tac-toe board, I make sure to have things on there that are going to help them before, during, and after the party. So you're going to want some of the befores to be, what are your party goals? How many bookings do you want? What is your wish list? That way your host or hostess is going to be incentivized during their party, and they know where they want to be at the end. Now, when I was getting ready for my party, I taught for 11 years, and for me, it always makes me feel most comfortable and relaxed if I have a lot of the prep work done ahead of time. So I had clipboards. Now, I already had from teaching, and since I have since resigned from teaching to stay home with my son and son-to-be, I have my classroom clipboards at home. So this is something that I've already had on hand because my entire classroom is sitting in my basement. So I just got out my clipboards, and I put a regular sheet of paper on. And then, I don't know who I got this from, but I love it. It is a please let me know how I can best serve you sheet that allows them to fill out their important information, so their name and contact information, and how they prefer to be contacted, and then to check all the things that they would like to have help with, whether it's meal planning or meal delivery services, fundraising, recipes, tips, and so on. And so this will give you an idea of how you can best serve your new clients, the guests at your party. So I hand this out when I introduce myself, and I give them a pen from my little bucket. Isn't this cute? Dollar store bucket. Telling you, the dollar store is fantastic. So this is a dollar store bucket, and these pens, I think I got them either from our marketplace or from, oh goodness, where I get my business cards, which I always forget what that store is called. Speaking of business cards, I do not hand my business cards out until the very end. And I make sure to have a magnetized one, because that way I make sure to tell them, just slap it on your fridge and it's there when you need it. Because I don't know about you, but I lose all my business cards, right? So just a quick tip about that as well. Vistaprint, that's where I get my business cards and my pens. So I would highly suggest, if you are on a budget, that you wait until they have one of their special 30% off. Or if you plan on going to convention, if it's sometimes close to convention, we often get a 50% off coupon. And that's a great time to stock up on what you need, because then it's going to be more cost effective for you. Okay, so now that we've kind of got our setup ready, I have my clipboards with how I can help you, and I have their contact information. I showed you that I had just some pretty little notebook paper that I stick on there. I have them write their wish lists on there. I don't know about you, but my memory is awful. And so when I am at a party, I always want to have a wish list so that if I hear something in the party, I can jot that down. And I know that it's something that I want to remember, something that I was interested in, and I can look into when it's my time to go peruse the catalog. Now, I highly suggest giving them something to write with, because otherwise they might use their phone. And if they have their phone in their hand, that means they're going to be a little bit distracted, and they're not necessarily going to be listening to all that great information that you're going to be sharing. Okay, so everything's ready. You've introduced yourself. You're getting started with our party system cards. So the very first step on here is the prep step, which is all about mingling. Now, this is very simple, and it's going to be based on how you are running your party. I had our limited time offer prickly pear cooler drink as something I could offer, but because there were so many people coming in, it's really hard to introduce yourself and offer a drink. And something that threw me off is I wanted to introduce myself by shaking their hand and saying hello. I'm very much a hugger, but I didn't hug anybody. But I noticed after my first few people that some people were very hesitant to shake hands. This is a post-COVID thing that is going to be part of our norm. So just know you might want to have a different way to say hello, because that kind of startled me at first and threw me off my game. So know that they might not want to shake. You might not want to shake. You might be someone who's concerned about sharing physical contact, and that is fine. Just be aware that other people might be feeling that way too. On the first step, the introduction, it says to introduce yourself, thank your host, and do a little icebreaker. This is pretty standard things. But when it comes to icebreakers, as a teacher, I always think about an icebreaker being a way for everyone to introduce each other, introduce themselves, and to share something, to get their brains warmed up, right? Well, our theme for August of 2022 was Fall into Fresh. So I got some fresh colored green index cards, and I just wrote a word on it. And I know they're backwards for you. I didn't write backwards. I'm not that talented. But each of the cards has one word that is either a fall produce or a fall flavor or something that we like to make in the fall, like pie. And so I handed those out as I was introducing myself to everyone, giving them a pen and a clipboard, and welcoming them to our event. Now, when it was time to do our icebreaker, I just had everyone share their name, share their little card word, and something about that word. So if the word was, that person actually colored all over it. Know that could happen. That people get really bored or whatnot, and they might trace over and do their own little doodles, and that's fine. But if it's raspberries, they might say, I love raspberry jam. It's a great opportunity for you to say, oh, these are the products we have with raspberries, like our tangy raspberry dip. Now, here's the thing with these cards that I found, something for you to keep in mind. My hostess, the very first host that I ever had, she is a baker, so she's known for being a good cook. She's very well connected in her church, very well connected in her community. She has older kids, so she has all of those connections from her kids growing up. And she runs her own baking business on the side. She is an amazing host. I mean, blew me out of the water. She wanted 2 party kits since we had 2 catalogs going on at the same time because it was August. And she made everything in both of those party kits. That's a lot of food, but she wanted to try everything and she wanted to have everybody else try everything too. She reached out to me, so it was clearly something she wanted to do. She was very motivated, hadn't had a Tastefully Simple party in 5 years, already had 5 or 6 things that she had run out of that she missed and is ready to get back into her kitchen. So excited for this party. So she originally told me, I'm probably going to have 25 to 30 people. That's crazy. Normally a party is going to be 10 people or less, and a really great party is 10 to 15. And as we got to the day of, she said, I really think we're probably going to have around 15. I have some maybes, but I don't think they're going to come. So as I was introducing myself and welcoming people to the party, it was quite the surprise for both of us, especially after 5 people she had planned on coming came down with COVID, and so they were in quarantine. It surprised both of us that over 20 people showed up. That meant I ran out of clipboards. I only had 19 clipboards. I didn't have enough for the 24, 25 people that she had. She ran out of chairs, and we ran out of space. And so we had this living room that was elongated this way, and then a wall. And on the other side was her kitchen and dining room, and that's where the other group of people, and there was a little walkway between the dining room and the living room. So I literally had to pop on both sides of the wall to include everyone because I couldn't see everyone at the same time. Know that these things are going to happen and just take a deep breath and enjoy it because it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to have, a beautiful kind of problem to have too many people, right? But when it comes to your icebreaker, you also want to have something as a backup because we did our little icebreaker, and even though we went pretty quick, we were pretty snappy, it still takes a long time for 25 people to say their name, share their word, and share something about it, and for you to connect with them. Because an icebreaker is really so that you can build camaraderie and warm up those brains and get to know one another. So have something in the back of your mind, a different thing that you want to do for your icebreaker in case you have a lot of people, because I went ahead and did that, and it takes a lot of time away from your party. And keep in mind, our parties, we really want to try to keep 30 minutes or less. Now, as a teacher of 11 years, I know time management is not my strong suit. We're already at 14 minutes, and I know that I was supposed to keep this short. So I know time management is one of my struggles. So I know my parties are probably going to be 30 to 45 minutes because I'm so passionate and I am so comfortable being around people and in front of people and talking and whatnot. These party cards and the way they have it laid out, it's going to be something that's going to probably take 30 minutes to 45 minutes minimum. So if there are some things that you want to do, especially if you have bigger numbers, to help make sure that it's a reasonable amount of time. because you're going to lose your guests after a while. It's a long time for them to sit. And consider the day of the week and the time, because that's going to affect how much your guests can give you too. So, icebreaker, always have something as a backup, especially if you are expecting potentially a big group of people. All right, step 2 is set expectations. So that expectation I was just telling you about it being 30 minutes or less. Be honest and be reasonable. I had someone be my timer, and that person was just to kind of give me little hints about how close we were getting to 30 minutes or a certain time. My party started at 6, and so we had people coming in consistently until about 6:15. So then they had to have time to get some of their snacks and whatnot, and mingle and see people. So we didn't get started until 6:30. Now, what that meant for me is I told my timer, hey, if you could let me know as we get close to 7, because that'll help me gauge how quickly I need to go, or what if I have to make some adjustments as we go. And just be comfortable with that. Know that this is not the end-all be-all. It is a guide, and it is a way to help you be successful. And so you still have to make it personalized, and you have to do what's best for you and your guests. So read your room and make sure that you're doing what's best for them too. All right, so when I do this, I also share my goals for them and let them know that I am offering them a time to have fun with friends, to taste all these new flavors, and to really be indulged with our bold flavors, but that I'm also offering them my friendship, that I am here to take good care of them. I am here to serve them. I'm here to help meet their needs. And I think that that's really important, that in the beginning, you let them know that you are here for them. So it's not just about expectations, but letting them know your purpose of the party. Then you have your saucy, spicy, seasoned. Just a quick thing. Do something that feels good for you. I felt a little weird and uncomfortable about having someone be each of these roles without them having some other kind of personality vibe to go with it. So I had my saucy person go saucy, so they had to have the S as part of it. And my spicy person had a maraca. This just came from my son's musical instruments. My son's 2.5, so we have a maraca. And I talked to them about how, spicy makes me think of like Mexican. And so that makes me think of maracas. And so that gave a nice little flair. And my seasoned, I just had her go, seasoned. So it doesn't have to be anything wild and crazy, or it can be if that is your personality and you can pull that off. But you want it to be something interactive and engaging, and that makes everybody kind of giggle. You want everyone to relax and have a good time. All right. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty, and this is why I'm popping on, because the product spotlights are pretty intense. They're going to take time. And I don't mean intense as in hard or difficult. I mean intense as if you're trying to keep your time short, having 3 product spotlight cards in 3 different steps. So this is step 3. It is also in step 5. And it is also in step 7. Now, because I had so many people, I had them get their samples in the beginning. And that's why we didn't start until 6:30. I did that just because I couldn't have them getting up and down each time, and I couldn't serve that many people in a good time frame. So this is something that could go a little differently if you have a smaller group. But on each of these product spotlights, you're supposed to spotlight and or sample 3 products. So 3 times 3 is 9. That's 9 products. And you don't want to just flash it in front of someone. Creamy wild rice soup. And now we're going to do bacon pepper jam. If you just do a flyby, it's not going to resonate with them. So you do want to share something about them, or maybe there's a guest in the audience who can be a testimony to that. But know that that all takes time. And so one thing that you might be able to do to help kind of consolidate things, maybe focus on a meal kit or the essential four, or a gift bundle, if there's a gift bundle that's really speaking to you. That way you're talking about one thing, and then you can kind of mention all the different other individual ingredients, products that are in that. But this is going to be the part that it's going to be easy to let time run away from you. And there's more on each of these steps than just those 3 spotlights. So this one, it reminds you to talk about value packs and meal kits. That is very, very important to your guests, clients, customers, because they need to know that you're here to help them make the best choices for themselves. They need to know about our budget-friendly options, which are our meal kits and our value packs, because that's how we are best serving them. And then make sure for the client specials and host specials, when you go to talk about those, that you have something to reference, because they are not going to have the catalog or anything. So I highly suggest even just these little tabletop holders and printing out a colored flyer. So very helpful just to have these out, and then you can just kind of point to it and reference it, and it's going to register with them so much easier, and it's going to stick with them more than if you just do an oral shout out about what the client special is. That's a way for you to save some time too, because you can always say, hey, this is the client special. It's nice if you have the product on hand so that you can hold it up. And then because they have that visual connection, they're going to reference that later in the party, so you don't have to say as much about that. Then you have your questions, and I will tell you those go pretty quick. When Saucy asks a question, when Seasoned asks a question, when they ask their questions and you're answering them, it does go pretty quick. So you don't have to worry about those being too time consuming. But be ready for them to ask questions, and make sure that you allow them the opportunity to ask questions, because that's going to help them feel connected to you and the party. In the next product spotlight, it says to offer a free gift. Now, one way that can help this go more smoothly and quickly is to have a QR code. And you can have this, I know Trish Craft, she has awesome little labels that go on her catalogs and on her business card, which is totally awesome. And for me, I didn't have that. I didn't have labels printed up in time. And so I just had these from my last vendor event, which were little half sheets of paper that just copied and I cut. And then I made my little QR code from Campsite. It's a free resource for you to put several links in one spot. And I actually had forgotten about it for a while, because I hadn't done a lot of parties or vendor events lately. And it's a great way for you to organize all of your different links. Links like your Facebook page or VIP group, your website for them to shop, your hostess links. I saw that Trish, she puts her hostesses as individual links so that when her guests go to her QR code, they can choose their hostess to shop with. Super simple. And you can have other things on there too, like join my business or host a party. I have a Google form that I have on there with a customer survey so that I can get their information, what they're interested in. I do that a lot with my Facebook parties so that at the end of the party, I can get their information and how I can best serve them. And it also gives you an idea if they're interested in something like a monthly cooking subscription, or if they're interested in a fundraiser. And so those QR codes are very helpful. I highly suggest that one of your links, if you do Campsite, or there's another one, I'm not going to be able to remember it off the top of my head, but there's another one that's like Campsite that you can use to organize your links. And I highly suggest one of your links be the recipes, the link to our recipe, our virtual recipe box on Tastefully Simple. So that's part of our step 5. is offer a free gift. Here's the thing. If you have a lot of people, I had over 20 people on this very first tasting party, and that's unusual. And so once they had that in their hands, things kind of got spun out of control. And by that point, we had people who were needing to leave here soon because it was a weeknight. And we had people antsy to get the catalog because they haven't seen the catalog. So you've already introduced 3 products. They've already listened to you for a little bit. And they've already heard 6 products because this is the second one. And they're ready. They're antsy and itchy and ready to get going. So it is going to be kind of challenging to pull them back in when it comes time to moving on to the next step. So you might want to save this free gift till the end instead of doing it here and just let them know, maybe show them how it works, or just allude that you are going to hit that up later. But it does help when you have a QR code that they can scan really quick with their phone, takes them right to it, and make sure you walk them through how to best navigate the virtual recipe box. All right. Then we go to step 6. And step 6 is the spicy question. Like I said, the questions go really, really fast, so that is not a time-consuming part. It's the product spotlights that you want to kind of think through what you're going to say and which products you're going to highlight. I highly suggest that if you don't have product in stock, maybe just have a flyer and then use the flyer as your product spotlight. So maybe you do, like this month was August, so you could do your product spotlight of the August host special, and then the next product spotlight you could do the September host special, and then the third spotlight you could do the meal kit of the month. That way you are not having a ton of time being able to go on rants about these products that you love so much, right? Because it's easy to talk about what you're passionate about. Okay, so this is our last product spotlight, and it does suggest that you talk about our month's theme, our kit of the month, and our limited time offer. And if our limited time offer was a drink, then you might have already had that conversation when you offered that limited time offer drink as an introduction. If it is not a drink, then it's something that you really want to share with them at this point and let them know the urgency. Especially for us with September coming up, the pumpkin bread with maple glaze, that's going to fly off the shelves. So giving them that opportunity to know that this is an urgent situation, and if they really love it, they need to make sure they get it right away. Last question, our seasoned guest, and then it's time to shop. So if you stopped and just shared the recipe book, virtual recipe book online, but didn't have the guests do that, make sure you give them an opportunity to do that during this step. Remind them of that amazing opportunity, that amazing free gift. Also share the versatility, how important it is to think outside the box. And how if you're not creative, like for me, I always use the example that for me, cheese balls, if it says cheese ball, I only think cheese ball. I don't think a spread or a sauce or a casserole dish. Like I don't think about any of that. So these recipes give you those ideas to help you get the most out of your products, help you stretch your budget. These are all things that are really special and important to your guests, and it helps you better serve them. All right, so during this last step, and I say the last one because even though it's a 10-step process, this step number 9 is the most important because this is where you're about to let your little ducks fly. You're about to say, okay, you can go off on your own, and here's the catalog that you've been really, really wanting. My guests at this party, they were really itching to get those catalogs in their hands. So I actually had to skip my last product spotlight. And I told them that. I let them know, I value your time. I value what you need and what you want. And because they were really needing to get that catalog into their hands and I was losing them. I was losing their focus, that we were going to move on, and that's okay. Make sure you read the room. Make sure you are feeling out how people are doing, if they are snoring or closing their eyes or yawning a lot, or they're starting to chit-chat a lot, or you can kind of see the frustration on their face or tension. Please, please, please don't be afraid to change it up a little bit or to skip something, because this is your event and these cards are just here to help you be successful. They're just here as a resource to make your life a little bit easier, a little more tastefully simple, right? So catalogs, before I say goodbye, I wanted to share with you a little bit about catalogs. I always have my order forms inside my catalogs. I highlight the 2 or 3 most important things that I want to get from them, which is their host name and their name. I also highlight the date. And then I highlight in a different color, because otherwise it all blends, their email and their phone, so I know how to contact them. And then I love the idea, I think I got this from Kelly, of having a pink line that if they get to that line, or if they fill that line out, they get that many products, then they get an extra prize for me. And that little extra gift is simply a seasoning packet, but they get so excited about seasoning packets or sauces. I have sauces available too. A quick shout out about bookings. I didn't even get to use this because we were so overwhelmed with people, and I skipped my cards, right? And so because I had to skip a few steps at the end because I was reading the room, I did forget this. That's why these cards are so amazing. But a real quick shout out, if you're looking for an idea for sharing your next party dates, I used our pizza kit box. And so I left the pizza pan in there and the recipes, and when they open it up, it smells really good. And you can just have it lean against a wall, a counter, a toaster, whatever's available. And then they can just pull off the next date. And so then all these dates are already ready for my next event. So I have a new tasting party at my house on Monday. And so this is all ready to go with the event dates that I'm available for. Okay, well, I think I've talked your ear off enough, but know that this is an exciting time, and it is a great, great time to be getting into tasting parties. As you are doing tasting parties, things are going to come up that might make you uncomfortable, but know that those are great learning experiences, and just go into these with a growth mindset, knowing that it's not going to be perfect. Even 10 years from now, it's not going to be perfect. But because you are learning and growing and you are being real, you're still upholding your integrity, you're still being true to who you are, that's all that really matters. A real quick shout out that Kelly and I were talking about, because one of the concerns that made me uncomfortable was talking about shipping. I can talk about shipping, no problem. However, I had some people who, when they started to realize how much shipping was going to cost, it was making them unhappy. And that made me uncomfortable. And there was something Kelly said, and I'm looking at my little card that as we had our conversation, I wrote down what she said, because it just popped into her head as we were chit-chatting, and we were both like, that's awesome wording. And this is what she said: I can do one better than Amazon. I can do free shipping for you and free products. Because one of the things that I was saying to them is that I know shipping, whenever you have to pay for shipping, it's hard because we're so used to Amazon. Amazon's free, even though there's a membership. We don't see that but once a year. And so we get that idea that shipping is free. So I explained to my guests how our products are heavy. Food is heavy. And so we have to make sure that our products are shipped in boxes that are sturdy, that have the kind of packaging that's going to keep them safe and intact and in good condition when they get to their house. And so if you have customers, guests who are really getting uncomfortable or unhappy with the shipping cost, because that's really the only big concern that I heard yesterday at my very first party, I love that Kelly had said that. I can do one better than Amazon. I can get you free shipping and free products. And Amazon can't do that, right? Amazon's not going to get you free stuff. And then I always love to stress our love it guarantee, because that right there is a game changer. So I kind of hold that in my pocket until a certain concern comes up, or if people have started looking at the catalog and a concern has not come up, then I say, by the way, if there's something that you are interested in but a little nervous to try, you can try it risk-free. Because I had a customer of mine, a client of mine from a year ago who really was not fond of this one product. She's like, Kelly, I love all these products, but this one just did not set right. And I was like, let me call Tastefully Simple. It took me less than 5 minutes, and they had sent her a brand new product of her choice of equal or lesser value, no questions asked, no returns. That's incredible. What a wonderful gift we're giving them. So save that in your back pocket to help kind of make people feel really good towards the end as they're getting ready to order. And always make sure that it's all about them. You're here to serve everybody else, because that's what we're here for. Our job is to help make lives happier and to help other people make more memorable food experiences with their loved ones. So I hope this has helped. If you have any questions whatsoever, or concerns or thoughts or ideas, brainstorming is always a fantastic thing. More brains are always better than one. And so please reach out and share with all of us. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye.